talking about the NASDAQ, SPY, and the Russell. Well, let's go over it. What happened? And I know it's a little bit late, and the market's going to be opening in a couple more minutes. We have about an hour and a half to go until the market opens up on Friday. But where do I see everything going? We can see we had that push down, and I, it broke through some of these resistance. Now, what I see on NASDAQ looks like it wants to go up, but as of right now, we're seeing a basically it's hitting this top, rejecting, going down, hitting this top, rejecting, going down, hitting this top again, rejecting, going down, and then it's now getting lower lows. So where do I see it? As of right now, my indicators are saying we have an upward sign in a 4-hour chart. We have a 30% chance of it going up. So on Friday, we have, I would think it might break through this resistance. And if it breaks through this resistance, that to me is a sign that the bulls, it's very bullish. And I would say very bullish. We're going to be going up. And we have a very high chance of going all-time highs. Now, we got Martin Luther Jr. Day coming up on Monday. That's no trading. And so we don't know what's going to happen Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday. No trading. There could be anything happening during the weekend. But we do have one of the biggest things I think it's going to be hitting, and that will be Trump becoming president on Monday. And when Trump becomes president on Monday, I think the market's going to really like that. Now, keep in mind, they're fighting with the Federal Reserve. And Trump and the Federal Reserve they're butting heads. Now, I see this happening. I see it going on. The Trump and the Federal Reserve, they're just fighting. But if where it's going to come down to it, I think Trump is going to find new methods to win on that part. He's going to threaten. He's going to and I think the Federal Reserve is going to weaken up and say, hey, you know what, this is going to happen. We had yesterday one of the Federal Reserves comes out and he says, I don't see the tariffs being a inflation cause. So to me, that's really good signs. We might have a good sign of the market might be going into a bullish sign. Let's go look at the daily. The daily looks to me, we are still having a sell signal on the daily. But you can see it's still following that. Hits, rejects. Comes up, hits, rejects. Comes up, hits, rejects. And then it came up and was it Thursday? Rejects. And what's going to happen today? I think it might hit, or it might come down here and we might hit that bottom. I think that we should. It's going to do one way or the other. NASDAQ, I'm still bullish on it. I think it's going to hit when we get that candle to turn. You can see how fast it will shoot up. Like look at once it turned, it just shot up. Up, great. I'm always messing with that. And then it shot up, and then look at how that all-time high. So the Russell, it has gotten beat, beat down. And the Russell, I think, has one of the highest risk, keep in mind. But the Russell has the highest reward. And I have money into the Russell. And I think the Russell has the chance, if it can get, and once it gets above these points, I would say right in this point at you're looking at 231, right around there. I think the Russell will break out of this channel, and we are going to see a great return. The Russell has been beat down so much, I think that we could see a short squeeze onto the Russell. That to me is a sign. Am I buying more? I'm holding off because I've got beat so much onto the Russell. The SPY, the SPY is pretty much doing exactly the same as the NASDAQ. You can see on the SPY, it's gotten, it goes up here, got rejected, comes back up to that resistance, got rejected, comes back up, got rejected, and it keeps on doing. Same thing as what we're seeing at NASDAQ. Now, the 10-year, we got to look at the 10-year and see where the 10-year yields are going to be at. The 10-year yield. And that was what beating us down on the market. We were just going on this market. It was kept on rising, and that's why I'm not thinking we are going into a recession, because what we would need onto a recession is the yields will drop while the stock will drop. So the yields are not dropping and the yields are going up. So in return, when you have the yield going up, it's making more sense to buy bonds because you have a guaranteed, look at it, it was almost going up to 5%. You had it up at 4.8%. So when you have that guarantee at 4.8%, that yield, it's more of a, you have less risk and more reward. So why would you put your money into the stock market? You would yank the money out of the stock market. So that's why we see the market was dropping, but the market dropped. It was holding on very well on how much the yields were rising. That to me is a really, I think, interesting sign. I think that's why I'm really thinking we could see a good run in the future. I don't know when, but I think in the future we could see a good run of the market going up. And the yields went up at 16%. You could see that almost 16%. I don't think I have it all the way there, but that tippy tap in there, and then yields went up 16%. Now, when you go to NASDAQ, what what was NASDAQ on the tippy top here going all the way down? NASDAQ went down 7.2%. It's so I think it held very well for how much the yields went up. So that to me is a really sign. I think we could see it going up. Like the dollar, let's get into the dollar. The dollar is getting a little bit weaker, but still in an upward trend. Now that's a concerning to me. I think if the dollar gets weaker, I've seen it drop, but we're not getting a sell sign. We're not getting that sell sign that's dropping. Now the dollar, if it starts dropping and you have yields dropping, yields are at that sell sign right now. The dollar, no, it's not. It's still very so we could still see a downward trend because the dollar is still very strong. I have I would say if you're going to bet onto the market right now, keep in mind with those with that market, you want to make sure you have your contracts or you're going to hold these stocks in the long term. Don't be buying on these stocks for like it's going to swing trading is going to be within 2 weeks. I think that you would have to expand it out on these contracts. And that's what I was doing. I'm rolling my contracts out because these contracts are not going to, I had about 2 months, but I'm thinking about rolling them out a little bit longer because these this dollar is not it's not a good sign to me still. Now, the VIX, it's dropping. We see it drop here, came back up, testing it up, and the VIX is still dropping. That's a great sign, meaning we're going to the economy or traders are starting to get a little bit less bearish. They're getting out of the market. On the bear side, they're not buying these contracts for puts on that part, but we are still in the fear index. We are at a 29. So we're still in fear. We're still in the fear. So we should see it going up. Where I'm at, I have money in NASDAQ. I still see NASDAQ going to be a good trade. I think it's going to go up, and I think it's going to go up to once it breaks this, and it breaks to the 522. I think we're going to see all-time highs. I think that would be a really all-time high sign. I think Google, I have money into that. I still think Google is a good trade. Buying Google, I think that we could see it going and breaking the 200. And if it breaks the 200, we could see a gap up. I'll probably be getting out of Google probably at 210. That would be where to me is a little bit too much of a juiciness. And but I do have a debit spread onto Google on the options. Now, another one that no one's really talking about, I don't really hear a lot of people talking about this, is Intel. Intel, I think, is it's a great company. It has a lot of stuff. I was buying some contracts down here, buying some puts. Sorry, not buying. I was selling some puts right down in here. Right down in here. I think that Intel is a good company, and I would buy into Intel. So if these Intel contracts, uh, if I have to fulfill them, I'm all right with that, and I think I would be willing to buy into Intel. It has a dividend. It has a good standing company. You see a lot of computers use Intel. So with that, like I'm using a computer right now. It has Intel. I have two computers that have Intel right now. I'm just looking at 'em. So Intel has a huge potential. The problem was the leadership. Leadership was a huge problem. And when the leadership has there's not moving onto the AI. They fell through on AI on bandwagon. They did not get onto that train ride. And I think that's the problem. If they get a good leader coming in there and saying, "Hey, you know what? We are going to move on to this AI stuff," I think this company could skyrocket. Plus, with dividends on top of that, it's a great situation. I don't see this company going away, and we can see free market. Man, it is looking like what in the world's going on here? I gotta see this. Look at this. Woo, woo-wee. Intel has uh, just skyrocket. So maybe they got the CEO, they invested in the CEO, and I think that they're saying, hey, you know what? We're going to be putting money into this company. We're going to do this, do that. That's great. Look at Intel. I think I think it's a company that's been beat up to the wazoo, and we are at like one of the lowest. When I was looking at this, it was one of the lowest things since 2000 uh, 12 Intel was. 2012, the stock is worth. So yes, stay safe out there. Make sure you if you see the market volatile, you know why. And if you like it, subscribe, share. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. I'm trying to make more content out there, and I'm definitely trying to get out uh, a content to show where my trades are going to go, and to have people looking at my trades as well. So, love you. Subscribe. Peace out.